And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review, and this is Sola Ren from Stormtroopers with Aimbot. That's right, Stormtroopers with Aimbot. What's happening, you guys? All right, so he wants to know a little bit about his arena team, how he can tweak it, who he should Zeta first, and then the heroic AAT raid, like many people want to know. So first off, on arena, the team he has is phenomenal, and I think he's doing excellent, but he's almost unlocked General Kenobi, and so my suggestion, Sola, is that you replace Emperor Palpatine with General Kenobi as soon as you get him. That will create the traditional triple cleanse team, and that, I don't care how boring that team is to some people, that team is durable. It's a top 10 team. It'll get you in and keep you into the top 10. It's phenomenal. Even though some people don't like it because there's so many other people running it, there's a reason why they run it, and it's because it works. And obviously, at the end of the day, you want to get crystals so you can advance your additional characters that are in the game. So sometimes you have to embrace what's popular, because what's popular is what's best. I'm not saying the Triple Cleanse team is the best, but it is one of the best. And you're there. You're just missing one piece. That's General Kenobi. You're about to unlock him. When you unlock him, throw him into the Emperor Palpatine slot and get him up. He'll be completely viable at the unlock 5-star level that he unlocks at. So do that. Now, you asked about Zetas, and there are 3 characters that I would suggest Zetaing, and that would be, because you use Darth Nihilus in your arena team, I would suggest doing his unique. His unique puts health down every time an opponent takes a turn, which just causes them to debuff themselves. And if they're using another Rex lead, it's actually going to trigger the Rex lead to automatically cleanse. And use his tenacity up right away, which will help you if you're trying to dispel it with bays. And take away that tenacity. So then he has to wait 3 more turns to be able to use it. So because you're using Baze and Darth Nihilus, his unique ability would help allow you to trigger Rex's ability across the way and help you then to be able to cleanse that ability and make them more vulnerable. So his unique, because he's used in arena, that's what I would do. Although you do have Kylo Ren, and Kylo Ren is still amazing on offense, and he's still amazing in the raids and stuff. So even though you don't have him in here, he is someone you could plug in as a climbing team, someone that you put in here to kind of climb through and beat everybody. Because with Kylo Ren, essentially, him alone even, you can beat pretty much 5 other people. It's just amazing what he can do on offense. But you really got to have that protection regeneration for him to get that viability. And then the third is going to be another character you could plug in here instead of Darth Nihilus. If you decided to do General Kenobi, you could also plug in your R2-D2. That's right, R2-D2. It, when maxed out, works great as going in with General Kenobi in that Triple Cleanse team, and he can even replace General Kenobi in that team. He can replace Darth Nihilus. He's amazing. R2-D2's phenomenal, and the best Zeta he has is number crunch. It's going to make your whole team way more viable, especially with your Chirrut and Baze and, you know, your Rex lead, whatnot. He's going to improve all of their stats significantly, making them all more viable, all more durable in that arena battle. So for arena, number crunch is number 1, and then combat analysis you could always do. It creates them all as cleansers. But in a triple cleanse team, it's just less important. So I wouldn't do combat analysis first, and maybe never, but for the team you have. But I would definitely do numbers crunch. So those are your 3 options: Darth Nihilus, unique; Kylo Ren, definitely do him; and R2-D2. Now, this is how you're going to make your decision. Which one of these do you plan on using more? If you plan on using Darth Nihilus more, then do him first. If you're planning on using R2-D2 pretty quickly and using him more often over the next 6 months, then I would do R2-D2's ability. And Kylo Ren, if you're planning on using him, I would definitely do Kylo Ren's ability. Now that we've done the Zeta and your arena team, and by the way, your arena team's phenomenal. You use it, you know. Let's go ahead and go into the heroic AAT. And for phase 1, I don't really think there's any surprises. I would suggest an Ayla lead. Now, obviously, the more damage you want to get out of something, you've got to have them more durable so they last longer so you can get them more damage. The only way to do that is for them to be geared up. So any of these characters that I suggest for phase 1, 2, 3, or 4 that I'm suggesting, if they're not gear, 11, base gear 11, not all the pieces, but just get to gear 11. If they're not that way, you're going to want to work on them passively over the next, 3 to 4 months and get all of these characters on all these teams leveled up. And then they're going to work sufficiently well for you for the raid and get you plenty of damage for the raid. And that is going to be an Ayla lead, Qui-Gon Jinn, which you have Luminara, because you have her, kind of, you know, we might as well use what you have, and she's going to do more damage than even your Gear 9 Yoda or Gear 10 Yoda that you have. Ahsoka and JKA, Jedi Knight Anakin and Ahsoka. Ahsoka is gear level 10, and she can do a lot of damage, and Jedi Knight Anakin, because of the buff immunity, you need that in your Phase 1 team. You have to have Jedi Knight Anakin there, and he's only gear 8, so you're going to have to gear him up and gear Ayla up, continue to gear up Ahsoka. And then you could either use Luminara or Yoda, but if your Yoda does less damage like most do than Luminara, you bring in Luminara, she'll bring in the heal, she'll bring in an ability block, she'll bring in massive damage, more than Yoda most of the time. So that's how I would set up Phase 1. For Phase 2, obviously Phase 2, a lot of people say to go droids and Jawas, and I'm looking at your droids and Jawas and I'm going, you know, you've got a lot of work. So another thought for Phase 2 would actually be a team that you've invested a ton of time into, and that is your Sith. And so a Sith Phase 2 team is super fun and will do a ton of damage. And so the way you'll work the Phase 2 team is Darth Vader lead, so that way you can have your damage over time persist or stay on once you put them on. And then, of course, you're going to use Darth Maul. And the reason for Darth Maul is he does an AoE, just like Darth Vader does an AoE. And you want the tank to get hit. You want to hit everything every time with every character, and the reason for that is all these AoEs will take the tank out and topple it, and then you can hit it with basics, and then when it comes back up, you hit them with AoEs, it topples it. And so with Sith, you want a bunch of AoEs, okay? So Darth Vader has an AoE, and he's going to be your lead, and he's going to help you with turn meter reduction as well, which slows the tank down. The tank's pretty fast, surprisingly, and so this is going to help as well. And then you're going to have your Darth Maul for the AoE debuff and just the AoE damage. And then you're going to have, and by the way, Darth Maul, every time he kills one of those tank turrets, he's going to get health gain. So it's pretty cool. It is capped now, but it does go up significantly, so that's awesome. Darth Sidious is going to expose them. And so what you want is you want Darth Sidious faster than everybody on this team if you can, because he's going to put damage over time and expose. And then you could bring in Darth Maul next if you wanted to, and with Darth Maul's damage, it's going to do the 20% health damage as well. Now it's capped on the tank, of course, with the health damage, because it's a fearsome foe ally, or a fearsome foe enemy. But Darth Maul would go after Darth Sidious or Darth Vader. And again, Darth Sidious has an AoE. He can hit everybody, and he's going to be able to put that exposed down. And then, of course, Darth Nihilus would be great on this team because he could hit the hole for 100,000. And with all of those debuffs, you're going to be able to get his cooldowns reduced significantly and use him quite frequently, actually, in this raid. And he's tanky and durable. And then for the last slot, you could either use someone that does a lot of damage with debuffs like Boba Fett, or you could use someone like Lando. Now, I know if you're not using Lando in your Rebel team, you could always bring Lando into your Sith team. I know that sounds weird, but he does do a really crazy AoE, and so that would do a lot of damage to those teams. Now, I think a better option would either be Kylo Ren, because he has an AoE and he has the ability to do a significant amount of damage, and you know they're going to debuff him. And so with those debuffs and the amount of damage he takes is severely compressed. He takes almost no damage each time he gets hit. He's almost like a tank. He's actually better than a tank. So Kylo Ren would be a phenomenal fifth person in here, or Boba Fett with his execute. Now, the reason why I'm suggesting this Darth Vader-led team for Phase 2 is because it's them or droids, and truly your droids leave something to be desired, and they're going to be a lot of work, and so this is the path of least resistance, is using what you have. So this is the suggestion: Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Darth Sidious, Darth Nihilus, and then like Kylo Ren or Boba Fett. For Phase 3, because you've used Darth Vader now in Phase 2, you're not going to be able to use him in Phase 3, but I would just do Path of Least Resistance and use Emperor Palpatine and TIE Fighter Pilot. Make them super fast, both of them, because they're going to be your damage dealers. Then back them with Royal Guard, Stormtrooper Han, and Shore Trooper. Now, your Shore Troopers at 6 stars, not 7, so you're going to have to get them up to 7 stars to make this happen. In the meantime, you could use Sunfac or someone as another tank instead of Shore Trooper, but do 3 tanks and 2 damage dealers. Royal Guard, Shore Trooper, or Sunfac, Stormtrooper Han and make your Emperor Palpatine and TIE Fighter pilot very, very fast. You're going to do a lot of damage, but the truth is Phase 3 is one of the hardest phases to do damage on. Phase 1 and Phase 3 are really hard to do damage just because of the type of phase that they've built. So you got to be happy with getting just your 2 to 8% damage that you're going to be able to get with teams such as this. And then Phase 4, I'm going to suggest your wedge lead with Biggs. And then because you don't have your Chirrut and Baze up to 7 stars yet, I mean, eventually you'll want them on this team with Biggs and Wedge and probably Princess Leia or Admiral Akbar. But until then, I would recommend using your top row. And since Stormtrooper Han has been pulled, you're going to basically use an Admiral Akbar, Princess Leia, Lando, Biggs, and Wedge. Use Wedge as the leader because of the healing and turn meter capability with Wedge lead and the additional damage. You need as much damage as possible. Then Biggs, because of the additional shots, he can do the triple shot and you can really clear out those B2s pretty fast with him. Lando for the AoE, so you can do damage to everything. And Admiral Akbar is kind of your healer, plus he's going to give additional turns if you plan it right. Make it so Admiral Akbar goes before Lando, and then Admiral Akbar will put up his special ability, and then Lando will be able to go crit and then go again because he used his special ability, and you can get him to go twice in a row. So make sure your Admiral Akbar is faster than your Lando on this team. But that's the team I would use for Phase 4 is your Rebels. It's the path of least resistance, and they'll do decent as well. You could reverse it and move your Sith team with the Darth Vader lead into this phase if you're finding that you're not surviving this phase very well with Rebels, and move your Rebels to Phase 2 if you feel that Phase 2 is a little easier for your Rebels to take on. That's always an option. I still feel that your Sith team with Darth Vader lead would do very well in Phase 2 or Phase 4. So there's that. I hope that this has helped really focus you on a Zeta, because you got 3 options now I've given you that I feel like are going to be the most suited for you. I hope you feel like you've got the phases figured out. And I wanted to say thank you very much. I know your daughter every single day says, "Warrior out." And so I'm definitely going to incorporate that into a couple of my future videos. I think that's adorable, and I'm going to definitely use that. But for today, make sure you keep your gaming on. Warrior out.